before I came to Homestead, I was a lawyer practicing every day in corporate America. It was a nice job, but there was something inside me. I just wasn't fulfilled. I didn't want to sit at a desk and read and write all the time. I wanted to help people. So I started thinking about what could I do to do that. Homestead came to me through a friend who introduced it to me, and kind of when I heard about the company, I thought about my parents. They had moved back to their hometown where they grew up, where my grandparents still lived. My grandfather had had a heart attack, and he was weak, and they felt like they needed to move back there just to be near him, to help take care of him and my grandmother. And that he was able to enjoy them being close by for those last 8 years. And I thought about, the peace of mind that it gave my parents to be near just in case something happened. And I think about Homestead, and we can do that kind of thing for people whose children can't move back to their hometown and they can't spend full time taking care of their parents. If somebody is sick or disabled and they don't have children, or their children are working, or they live too far away and they can't move back, then Homestead is the solution for those people. We can help them. I often think about one of my very first clients when I started. Her name was Georgia. Georgia was a really fiery lady. She had a stroke, though, and it took away a lot of her physical abilities. She couldn't really speak very well anymore. She certainly couldn't walk. And after her stroke, many people, particularly her doctors and the medical community, they would think of her as a classic example of somebody who needed to live in a nursing home. She needed help 24 hours a day. But Georgia didn't want to do that. Again, I told you she was fiery. She wanted to go home. She had a beautiful garden, landscape grounds around her house. She loved to sit outside and look at her flowers, look at the birds. She couldn't do that from a nursing home. She wanted to go home. And through Homestead and having our compassionate caregivers help her, each day, she was able to go live at home. And I just think of the times that I spent sitting in her driveway with her, talking, looking out in her yard, and her laughing. I know that she had a really high quality of life the last few years that she was here, even though she had those disabilities in her way. And I'd like to think that Homestead was a big part of the joy that she had and the quality of life that she had after she had her stroke.
Caring for seniors while helping them maintain a home-based lifestyle has been our mission from the very beginning, and now we are worldwide experts in our field. Our overall goal is to provide quality care through extraordinary relationships, ultimately enhancing the lives of seniors. Homestead caregivers are professionally trained, bonded, and insured. But most importantly, they value the relationship with each senior they care for. They are committed to understanding each senior on an individual and personal level, to learn about current needs and anticipate future ones so they may be addressed ahead of time. There are a variety of services your Homestead caregiver can provide. And as your relationship with Homestead Senior Care grows, we will help you with those services that best suit your interests, activities, and needs.
Well, it was hard. We had an issue almost 3 years ago where my father had a very bad spill, and he ended up in Baptist Hospital for a number of weeks, and then he was moved to a rehab center so he could get physical therapy and work on those things. In the meantime, there were a lot of decisions that we had to make, my brother and my sister and I together, and I think part of it was when he was in that rehab center, we didn't find that he did well in that environment. We found that what we saw was he became a patient.
I feel more comfortable, I'd say, being at my own home and living there so long in that building, in that one house,
When we talked about bringing somebody into the house, I think Dad was relieved rather than upset. He sort of brightened at the idea. Oh, Homestead, yeah. I can stay here, and they'll come in and, you know, take me to my doctors.
So the family are going to have to take time out of their lives, their work, their weekends, their personal time to care for their loved ones.
There was always all this coordination we had to do. We would take turns going to the house. You know, we actually had a schedule. I don't know if Dad knows about this, but we had like a little spreadsheet of whose turn it was, what weekend was yours, what doctor's appointments were yours, what your duties were. And with the three of us, it was still, you know, a bit overwhelming.
This frees them up to tend to themselves with the understanding that their loved ones are being cared for just as they would care for them.
And that makes their responsibility maybe a little lighter, I guess you'd say, so they don't have to feel that they come and visit me every day or something like that.
Not only does Home Instead know what the client needs, but they also know the strengths of their caregivers. Working with the elderly population, they often feel alone and neglected. So to have someone come in who takes a personal interest, not in just doing the assigned task, but have a personal interest in the person themselves.
Who takes care of my dad is very personal. That's my daddy, you know. That's the one I used to sit on his lap. And they acknowledge this is not just a business. You know, this is a personal business. You're talking about people's lives. And it's not selling shoes. It has to be very well thought out, very careful. And just as you wouldn't put your baby with just anybody, you're not going to put your dad or your mom with just anybody. You're going to be very careful. And I think that Home Instead understands that.
Home Instead Senior Care has always been devoted to providing the highest quality care for your loved one in the comforting atmosphere of their own home. Let us help you create a personalized solution and provide support for you and your loved one so that you can turn this difficult decision into one that will change your life for the better. To you, it's about making the right choice. To us, it's personal.